We're looking at the line, not long, so I got my little window to pick it up.
20 minutes later.
So, just came from the Apple store, you see it in the back. Just picked up my iPhone 10 and 29 watt charger, and I got a silicone case for it. So, my main just trying to not get hit by traffic on the way out. But such a complicated shopping experience to pick up something in the store. I don't know if I'm just gonna go ahead and loop everything I put together and just kind of put it into one video. But ultimately, there's like a line in the back of the store that you're supposed to line at. There's a dude that's supposed to greet you at the front of the store. I walked past him, didn't notice him. So I walked to the Genius bar and asked somebody over there. They told me to go back to the line at the back of the store toward the right, and that's where you're supposed to, stand in line to get your stuff picked up. So I was in that line for a while. Then the guy that assists me didn't even know about the turbocharger. Like the 29, didn't know how to charge the phone faster. So, man, Apple, simplicity is key. Simplicity is very key. Before I get started, big ups to Corey with the Tech Couple. He let me know that they actually had some in stock at the Apple store in my town. So big ups to him. If it wasn't for him, I'd be waiting until like the 17th to unbox this thing. So without further ado, you're now rocking with Wakama. Let's go. So at this point, you've already seen the struggle at the Apple store. I'm not even gonna recant the same issue. So what I'm actually gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna do an unboxing and first 48 in the same video. So to get started with the unboxing, when I came out of the Apple store, I bought three things. I bought this iPhone 10, the 64 gig version. Also bought the power charger, the 29 watt turbo charger that really is supposed to be for the it's supposed to be for the MacBook, but also it's supposed to be compatible for the iPhones as well. And I also bought a silicone case. So altogether, the accessories by themselves came to be like 93 bucks or something like that. So the phone itself was like $1,066 after taxes. So we're gonna go into this. I'm gonna go into my impressions to let you know, is it worth that money? Spoiler, right now no phone is worth $1,000. It's just highly overpriced. But is it an enjoyable experience? Will you like it if you buy it? We're gonna get into that. So upon unboxing everything, once I got the plastic off the box, the box kind of slid down, and first thing you see is the manual. It has a little notch in it. So without going into further detail with that, just put the manual to the side. We can read those later, and you have the phone that you're looking at now. So took out the phone real briefly. I wanted to see what else is in the box. As you've seen in a lot of YouTube other videos, you have your standard, I believe, 1 milliamp hour charger brick. You have your headphones that are they're a lightning port, and you also have your lightning port dongle because there's no headphone jack on this phone. So at that point, you also have your lightning cord, lightning cord to plug into your power brick. And after that, that's pretty much everything unboxed with the phone. So the next thing I did after that was I went ahead and powered it on for the first time. As soon as you see that Apple logo, you see the black screen behind it, and you actually see the clarity of the screen. It's definitely a lot more it's definitely a lot more sharper than the previous panels that Apple's used before. So this year they went with Samsung for the OLED. You definitely see that black dark effect with the black panels. And then after it finally boots up, it doesn't really take long to boot up. You see the screen that says welcome, hello, in all these different languages. You select your country. The next thing you do is it's asking you for your Wi-Fi. So you go ahead, put in your Wi-Fi credentials. Then the next step was it wanted me to activate the phone. It didn't have my SIM in it, so I paused the camera for a second. I had switched my SIM from my Samsung Galaxy S8 Plus, put it in my phone, and then I was able to continue the activation process. So it activated. Then the next thing it wanted me to do was Face ID. So that Face ID was a little bit tough to do on camera, but I did it. I kind of almost want to do the Face ID again because I don't want to say I had issues, but I want to make sure that I was doing it accurately with, me looking at it, face to face with the phone. So after the Face ID, then they ask you to set up other stuff like your Apple Pay, your iCloud keychain. It tells you about the True Tone display, which I'm not really in favor of. I turned that off. To me, the True Tone feels a little bit more warm. I kind of want the cooler colors a little bit more. Then after that, then they go through numerous steps of tips and things that you can do to set your phone up. And here's how you need to use it. But I'm going to get into that in a second here when it comes to like the whole how to use the phone. But after that, I'm just like impatient. I'm like, come on, let me just skip. Let me just get to the home screen. So when you finally get to the home screen, you see the nice colors on the screen, and I'm impressed by just first appearance off gate. The colors on this iPhone look really good. I haven't seen the last iPhone I had that I'm coming from was the iPhone 6s Plus. And 6s Plus had really good battery life on it. I love that device. But I think I'm going to start to love this even more just upon using it. So I've been using it for the last 2 days. And after I got, finally booted the phone, I went ahead and unboxed this thing, the silicone case. So I got it in white. They didn't have the product red. I kind of wanted to get the product red, but since I've got a white phone, well, it's called the silver phone, but the back is white. So I figured I might as well just go ahead and match and get the white to go with it. So unboxed that. I actually put it on. It's a really snug fit, like when you put this on the phone. Like it feels really snug, and it has like a nice, good, grippy rubber back. I love it. It feels textured. And that's $40. Is it worth $40? I don't feel like it's too overpriced, but it's up there. It's definitely overpriced, but it feels good. It's quality. It was more quality than what I expected for the OEM to put out. But this is an OEM case. I'm actually happy with this. So you definitely need to get a case day one if you're buying this phone, just because of the stainless steel on the sides, on the bezels. I don't trust the stainless steel just because with the Apple Watches, there were so many reports of them things getting scratched. So I'm like, I need to go ahead and protect this now. So I went ahead and bought it in the Apple store. So after, putting this case on, it does feel good. It protects the camera hump at the back, because there is a camera hump. You may not be able to see it from here, but there's a slight camera hump, and I don't want the camera lens to get scratched. So then after that, I unboxed the 29 watt charger, which, how give or take, whatever you think about it. For me, I've actually used that 29 watt charger and I've seen the benefit of it. So after everything's unboxed, now let's actually go ahead and talk about the actual everyday use impressions of this phone. I hadn't really had any performance issues. First day, I would say battery life I'm just going to start with a battery life story. First day battery life, it was like, okay, it lasted me through the day. I got about 6 hours of what we call screen on time and Android time. However, with this phone, I was getting like 6 hours screen on time the first day. It lasted me throughout the day. I didn't really have any concerns. I know Danny Wingett talked about on Twitter, he said there was concerns about battery life. Don't get me wrong, this is not going to be your iPhone 8 Plus probably battery life. I think this battery life is going to be in between the two, the 8 and the 8 Plus. The first day I got 6 hours. The next day I got about 8 hours screen on time. Don't get me wrong, the next day I had to work, so I was a lot more concentrated on what I'm doing at work versus focusing on the phone. But so I had lighter use or mixed use on the phone the second day. But yeah, it's gonna last you all day. I don't have any fears or concerns about the battery life of this thing. Number 2, let's talk about this display. The display, as I mentioned, is gorgeous. Even at the build quality, how it fits in there. But here's one thing I know. Tony Pazzo was just like, he doesn't like this notch. This notch is annoying to him because he has both this and the Essential phone. I'm on board. I want to get that Essential phone too, so I can do some comparisons. But for me, honestly, the notch doesn't really bother me as much as some other people. I think maybe if you have something to compare with, it might, or maybe just because you're so used to iOS. But for me, the notch, it doesn't. Even when I go into YouTube and I double tap and I crop the screen, expand the screen, I see the notch, but it's not like So I mean, but that's kind of a deal breaker for a lot of people. So if you have this little notch concern, yeah, you probably don't want to go for the 10. Go for the 8 or the 8 Plus. But other than that, I mean, I like the screen quality. Number 3, I like the speakers. The speakers on this thing, they blow the SA the SA Plus away. And I think they're actually a hair bit better than the Pixel XL 2. It's just loud and it's clear. I just don't have any complaints with that. I mean, they're not front facing. One is at the bottom and one is at the top, but you have stereo speakers and they're loud. And good job with that, Apple. So number 4, let's talk about this. It's not working right now. I guess because you have to do it like the first time. I've been looking at it a couple of times, but this what they call Face ID, it typically works really well. I'm surprised because that was the thing. The number one thing I was on the fence with this phone is this Face ID going to really work? Is it going to be something that's really practical that you can use in your day-to-day usage? For me, I say it's a go. There are some times when it does not work. I have come across that where sometimes it just it's just total foobar. But overall, I would say just like fingerprint sensors, I think this is going to be one thing that's probably going to get better with time. It's probably going to be just like Google's a learning machine. It's going to get better. But yeah, ultimately, I don't really have any qualms with this either. The next thing I want to talk about is, well, let's go ahead and talk about this build quality. You've got glass on the back. You've got wireless charging. I have not used wireless charging yet, but I just like the build on this thing. This is a really highly, let's see, I don't have any scratches. Good. But yeah, they really put their craftsmanship into this. I mean, I know Grant doesn't like this little camera, but it doesn't offend me either. Every day I have no problems with this phone, like performance-wise either. Don't get me wrong, some of the apps are not optimized. Like Telegram, like I'll start scrolling and then you'll start seeing in the area next to the notch, you'll see the feed in between the status and stuff at the top. I'm like, no, man, this should be all whited out. You know, if it's all white, it should just be like the Essential phone. So some apps do need to be optimized. Facebook looks fine on it. And other apps, some apps, it's going to be a hit or miss. I haven't tried Actually, I have tried Netflix. Netflix had the bars on the screen. For me, so much, I don't mind the bars, depending on what situation it is. If I'm watching YouTube and I'm watching a review with somebody, kind of like a situation like me, I'm standing up in front of the camera. If I try to zoom in, it's going to cut my head off. So I try to just keep it at that 16:9 aspect ratio that it was originally filmed in, and I'm good with that. I'm good with the 2 bars on the side. Just, you know, at least I can see the whole picture. So it doesn't really offend me as much. But overall, man, this phone it's been a joy to use. What else is new with this thing? I've done the selfies with the cameras. I haven't really done much work with the rear-facing cameras, but I have done more with the selfies, just trying to see if I can get a good feel of what this is like compared to the Pixel. Because the Pixel, on a day-to-day basis, I'm getting like excellent shots for the front-facing portrait mode. Portrait mode here, it just seems like stuff is kind of blown out, highlights are blown out. And this is a front-facing camera. I know it's not as important as the rear, but it's just the steps that Google's taken with that is just mind-blowing. So, but they had been advertising portrait mode since the 7. And so, I don't know. It's hit or miss with this thing. Some shots, I took one shot and it didn't seem like it blurred anything at all. I took a shot in a break room at work and it was just kind of like, it looked like a regular picture. But don't get me wrong, the picture still was good. It just wasn't the intended portrait mode. So yeah, ultimately, some things I'm sure that may be fixed with a software update too. I mean, but as getting this phone, you know, for the first 48 hours, you got to realize the iPhone 10 is kind of a beta phone. I haven't had any bugs with it, but it still gave me a solid experience day in and day out. So ultimately, I haven't tried gaming with it yet, but stay tuned for the full review. And ultimately, this phone seems to be a winner so far in my books. I'm really enjoying using this. It's reliable, it's reliable every time I need to pick it up. I can, for the most part, Face ID works when I need to use it. Speakers are loud. Performance is good. The display looks good. So, I mean, it's a nice phone to look at. So I've taken this phone out and given this phone to a couple people, and they were kind of wowed by the way it looks. So, but stay tuned for the channel for more. So keep watching and make sure you like, share it, and subscribe. Peace.